But look, we all know that despite the progress we made, families are still struggling. They're struggling with higher prices. As I said, I grew up in a family where the price of gas went up. Everybody felt it. You talked about it. It mattered. It mattered. But let's be absolutely clear about why prices are so high right now. They're very high for two reasons, notwithstanding what the Republicans say. COVID, number one. What happened was, the way the global economy works, if a factory in Taiwan makes computer chips, shuts down because of COVID, it causes a ripple effect that can slow down the manufacturing in Detroit, which it did. One hitch can hold up everything. Because of the pandemic, we've had disruption in our supply chain materials and import materials. At the same time, the strength and speed of our economic recovery and families making more money still kept up. So here you had the unusual situation that during the pandemic, people had money to spend. But what they didn't do is they didn't want to go to restaurants. They didn't want to go out and go on vacations. They didn't spend money on leisure activities. So they wanted to spend it on other things, on hard goods, home improvements, televisions, additions to their homes. The very products are slowed down by disruptions in the supply chain because there weren't people cutting 2x4s because of COVID. They were shut down. I could go on and list, you all know this. I'm preaching to the choir here. So what happened? Prices went up exponentially. Just take a look at automobiles last year. 1/3 of all the inflation in America last year was because of the price of automobiles. People had the money to buy automobiles, finally. But because the companies couldn't get semiconductors, they couldn't make the automobiles. As a result, the price of automobiles skyrocketed. And used cars, the reason used cars went up when the COVID hit and the leisure industry shut down, the rental cars sold all their stock. And so people were in real trouble. The second big reason for inflation is Vladimir Putin. From the moment he put his over 150,000 troops on the Ukrainian border, the price of gasoline in January went up 75 cents. And Putin began amassing troops along the border, and guess what? The world took notice. And those of you who work in the business know that the market anticipated. Prices went up more. And then Putin invaded. Make no mistake, inflation is largely the fault of Putin. I love, the Republicans saying it's Biden's gas pipeline. Biden said he's going to stop the Keystone pipeline, and I did. And that's the reason prices went up. Folks, let's get something straight here. The Keystone pipeline was 2 years away and had been 2% finished. Give me a break. Give me a break. Headline fact checker in the New York Times. Republicans wrongly blame Biden for rising gas prices. And it goes on to explain why gas prices are so high. Washington Post op-ed by Dana Milbank. Opinion, Biden heeded Republicans' plea to ban Russian oil. They pounced. And it goes on to talk about why it's gone. Don't let anybody tell you anything you did supporting the idea that we block Russian oil coming into the country, which is going, and I said at the time, prices are going to go up for gasoline. It wasn't anything we did. And by the way, you're in a situation right now where if you take a look, the idea, can we pump more oil? There are now, there are 172 gas and oil rigs running. Now there are 519 in operation before this all began. But guess what? They have over 7,000 permits to dig oil if they want. Why aren't they out pumping oil? Why aren't they out pumping oil? Because they've said, and they're very clear, Wall Street bankers have made it very clear. Not a joke. Check it out. And I recommend these two articles to you just as a little bit of a primer. You probably already know it. What's happened? Well, the oil companies and the executives, they don't want to pump more oil, although they have every capacity to do so. Nothing is slowing them up from doing it if they want to. Why? Rather than spend the profits in the increased price of gasoline, they would rather take those profits and buy back stock, buy back their own stock, rather than take that money and invest it in pumping new oil. Not a joke. Not a joke. So don't tell me gas prices rose because I've slowed down the American energy production. In my first year in office, American production grew by 9.7 million barrels today to 11.6 million, while we still made a major, major effort to deal with global warming and changing the way in which we shift to renewable energy. And don't tell me gas prices rose because of the American Rescue Plan. The San Francisco Federal Reserve, analyzed this, and other outfits confirmed the rescue plan contributed to 0.3% of inflation. 0.3 inflation. They're the facts. Democrats didn't cause this problem. Vladimir Putin did. And we are working on to fix it.